Patlos, the criminal boss, sits behind his desk, a tattered and unusual flag on the wall behind him. He picks at his fingernails and looks at his new recruits. You are going to do something for me, and whether you succeed or not, I win. Hi friends, just a quick note for today's episode. The video file that was recording the table was corrupted and I was not able to repair or recover it, which is why there's no shot of any of the dice rolls or any of the things I'm trying to show you in this episode. Thanks so much and enjoy. Hello and welcome back to Sphere Hoppers. I am your host and storyteller, Royce Rosewood. We are following the continuing adventures of our motley crew of characters stranded in the Crucible. We've got 3 separate quests going on, each trying to retrieve a cache of amber for the Archon Viceroy Orionut in order to open a vault and maybe get some assistance in getting off the Crucible. We are following one of our teams, the Shadows team. Havrina, Zavina, and Vivo have been recruited by the criminal boss Patlos, who's got some sort of axe to grind, and we'll learn more about that today, I guess. Macthan, Nexus, and Selwyn are in captivity, being held by the Knights of Sanctum in the Flying City. And then, of course, we've got Fleecy, the sheep, who is also being held captive, but more because she is so cute. A couple things. We had a question about the resolution system, which I maybe have not explained fully. This comes from Between the Skies, which has a number of suggestions for different ways to roll dice to resolve conflicts. Basically, how it works is you roll 2d6. If you get a 9 or higher, that's a success. Anything else is a failure. Now, if you have an advantage or a particular skill, then a 7 or an 8 will give you a partial success. 9 still giving you a success. And then if the circumstances are very in your favor, you've got a skill and an advantage, say, then a 3 through 6 will get you a partial success, and a 7 or higher will get you a success. And then this isn't suggested in the system. This is just something that I noticed that I do, so I incorporated it. If you get a 12, the highest roll, that's a success plus, a critical success. Or if you get a 2, if you get snake eyes, that is a critical failure. Unless you have both an advantage and a skill, then it's just a regular failure. So hopefully that explains that. Also, you may have noticed in the intro, I made a little change to Patlos. I decided that based on his name and just sort of his demeanor, I thought it would be nice to give him a little bit of a voice, a little bit of an accent. So that is what he sounds like going forward. Sometimes you come up with ideas and then later you're like, I have more ideas. And so we're just making stuff up as we go along. And so that is what we are doing. Speaking of Patlos, we discovered last time that Patlos is the head of this criminal boss and is holding on to some sort of grudge about some sort of surrender. He was involved in some sort of military operation. So I want to learn a little bit more about that and see if that sheds light on what he might be asking these 3 to do. So let us draw some cards from our Lore Masters deck. So I'm going to draw a faction card. And we know it was a military organization. Cavalcade. Let's get a modifier. I'm going to go with Ferocious Cavalcade. I'm going to draw a secondary faction card to get a little detail. It says creators or keepers of a document or a work of art. So let's see what that is. I'm going to draw an anchor. It's going to get a little weird. Okay, but I'm going to go with mountain. And we're going to get a modifier. Patlos was a member of the Ferocious Cavalcade, the keepers of the transcendent mountain, which is not a natural mountain, but was a work of art, was created. What I'm thinking that means is, and we know that there was a surrender, and Patlos is now running the criminal underbelly of the sanctum. I think what happened was they had this group, that had this relationship to this place, and sanctum, for whatever reason, for whatever aims, this ran in conflict with their goals and aims. There was a battle. The Knights of Sanctum defeated the ferocious cavalcade, and Patlos was forced to surrender, but was unhappy with the state of affairs, and so worked his way into the criminal underbelly of one of these sanctum cities, and is now always working to undermine the operations there in any way he can. He wants these people to do something. He said in the beginning that he doesn't care whether they succeed or fail. So, you are going to do something for me. Either you will succeed, and I will be a stick in the eye of the sanctum, or you will fail, and you will be captured, and you will no longer be my problem. You and your people, as soon as you came to this city, disaster, chaos, getting more knights on my men, on my people. So if you succeed, then you leave, you're on your way. If you fail, you are captured, you are out of my way. I win. So, what does he want them to do? Could this be he wants them to steal the Gleaming Shield? They already found out about this. We know it's a religious artifact. It could be related to this transcendent mountain. Maybe it could be a piece of it, maybe. That's a really interesting idea. Let's test. That seems very likely to me. All right. 19. Yes. You are going to steal and return to me the Gleaming Shield. It is a piece of a holy place that I was once sworn to protect. The transcendent mountain. It was the very top. This mountain was built of many artifacts, many works of art. And the sanctum took the most holy piece, and captured it. I would like it back, please. Well, now, this creates a problem for our heroes, right? Because we know they have a buyer. And their mission was to steal it and get it to this buyer who was going to pay for it. And now Patlos wants it. That's a problem for a later time. Patlos probably has some help for them. Zavina comes back and says, we would love to help you. I'm just wondering if you can help us out. We've got, some of our companions who are trapped. If we could get them out, that would really increase our chances of, being able to succeed at this. Do you think you could help us out with that? Actually, it's certain that Patlos has somebody who could help. Maybe somebody who's in the jail, an insider or a mole. Let's roll that person up. We've got this list of sentient species on the Crucible. It's a d20. All right, a 2, an Aquan. So these are like the fish people. There's an Aquan on the inside. What's their name? Biel. That sounds like a she to me. So let's go with that. Biel. Yes, I have someone on the inside. A fishy folk. Biel. She will help you. That's our expected scene. We're going to go try to make contact with this mole on the inside of the jail, try to break out our companions, and see what happens. But we've got to test. Die of fate. Oops. All right, 9+. Okay, expected scene. We've got this person inside this mole who can break out these 3. I don't think Patlos would have offered this if he wasn't fairly confident. So we're going to call this like an advantaged roll. So basically, as long as we don't roll a 2. All right, that's a 10. Great, that's a success. Okay. Nexus and Macthon and Selwyn are, in their different cells. One by one, this fishy person, big wide eyes and a long wet mouth and maybe some tendrils hanging down. Come with me. And of course, she looks like a guard, so of course they do. Oh, there was an open question about, because Selwyn and Nexus were in that Zeppelin crash, right? I wanted to see how injured they were. All right, we've got this injury table that goes all the way from superficial to death. All right, so we're going to go for Selwyn. Okay, 6. Ooh. Debilitating mortal injury or death. Well, I don't want them to be dead. So someone is totally incapacitated. Okay, and has been, sort of kept alive to the minimum. Okay, that is a complicating issue. Okay, 3. Hindering for Nexus moderate injury ability to act reduce. We'll say Nexus has like a broken arm. Someone is on a gurney. BL is pushing her through the dark corridors. Picks up Nexus, who's got his arm in a sling. Goes and gets Macklin. I say, I demand to be released at once. This is unconscionable. And BL said, come with me. Putting these 3 out, and then there's like a secret door or something. The hidden passageway pushes the gurney along. Nexus and Macklin are following. And then this leads to like an outside area, a hidden place where the other 3 are waiting. They are surprised to see someone in the gurney. And like that, they're going to need to deal with that immediately. And then they've got to get back to the Swift Shrine, or some sort of safe. That's really the only safe place that they have. What are the chances that any of the remaining people has any sort of medical ability? Could Vivo? I'll call that 50-50 on Vivo. Vivo's the only one. Everyone else seems kind of specialized in what they do based on what I know about them. Vivo is a little bit more open. So call it 50-50. 94, no. Actually, absolutely not. Right, they need to get back to the Swift Shrine. Call that a skill roll to see if they run into any trouble on the way. We'll just say they have an advantage because it's night and they are lurking in the shadows. All right, sneaky time 8. That is a partial success. So there's some sort of complication. There's suggestions in Between the Skies about like how to deal with complications, and there's 2 different frameworks. There's one called Chills and there's one called Loosh, and they're both fun acronyms. And so I decided to combine them. And then I also like mixed in a whole bunch of stuff from Starforged, all the like the complication or pay to price tables, and I mixed them all together and I sorted them out because these complications is one of the things that I have a hard time with coming up with in the moment. And the acronym I use is Chisel Up. I'm going to roll a D8 and see if that inspires me. 5. Enemy, boon, or action. The enemy in this case is the Knights of the Sanctum. There's 6 here. Let's roll, see if we get inspired. 5. Enemy reveals their true agenda or nature. So there was a sense, right, originally when they first arrived that this was a trap. And now they've been let go, and now they're heading back to the Swift Shrine. So I think what this means is, actually, the Sanctum has been playing this game all along, and they're using this as a way to find and root out the Swift Shrine. So our heroes get back, but it leads the Knights of the Sanctum to Patlos's hideout and roots them out. So they get in, they're pushing the gurney through the streets. It's squeaking. It's, bouncing on the cobblestone. Nexus nursing his broken arm. Everyone's sneaking around asking, where's Fleecy? Where's Fleecy? Vivo does the little secret code on the carving. And they get in. And as soon as it slides open, knights just pour in from everywhere in armor and shields. Some of them are angels. Some of them are spirits and glowing. And they swoop in, and it's just chaos and, weapons being fired, and there's the clash of steel. And we see Patlos and his eyes. We see, flashbacks to that surrender, to that battle. And he pulls out whatever his weapon is. I'm imagining it's sort of just like massive plasma gun or something. So he's shooting off. There's criminals of all kinds, pulling out weapons and dashing and hiding, and there's knights everywhere. So the question is, are folks going to be able to escape and get out? Well, let's make it a skill roll. We'll give them advantage for the chaos, but okay, 3. No, they are not able to escape, and they are captured along with a majority of the rest of the criminals. This is bad. Wow. I honestly don't see how these folks get out of this one. Everything they've tried has just not worked. It's just been failure after failure. They keep getting captured. The Sanctum has a super strong presence in this city. The whole thing was a trap, a setup. They've just lost their allies. I think they're going to go, right, we're going to go back to the court where we've done the perplexing sophistry before, plead for just exile, just be like, hey, just let us go and we won't come back. We won't trouble you anymore. All right, well, that's the expected scene. We'll see. 12, yeah, expected scene. All right, so they make their case. We'll call this a skill roll. Okay, 9. It's this huge suit of armor, imperiously looking down at them. It says, very well. We accept your plea of banishment. Never set foot in any of the cities of the Sanctum ever again. But of course, Fleecy is not with them. Think what happens to Fleecy, because Fleecy was just in this for the adventure, being captured by the Sanctum Knights, and they take care of Fleecy. I think Fleecy ends up joining up with the Sanctum, and so gets little armor and becomes a little, sheep knight, goes on adventures with the Sanctum. So we may or may not see Fleecy again, but I think just the way things turned out, Fleecy has gone off to do other adventures as the adventure sheep. One of the quests, the Martian quest, was a partial success. They got some amber. This quest, absolute failure. They weren't able to do what they needed to do. It was a trap. It was a setup. They totally undermined the criminal underbelly of the Sanctum City and perhaps made an enemy in Patlos and what remains of the ferocious cavalcade, keepers of the transcendent mountain. We will leave them for a moment and catch up with our third adventuring party. If you recall, Dragog, Thorada, Fabium Ragosaurus, and the Wolverine were heading into the demon portal to go to the underworld of the Crucible, the deeper layers of the Crucible, to seek out a cache of amber there. They're heading in. That is our expected scene. We'll see if anything changes that expectation. 4-. Decrease a character. Remove a character. We'll just roll a 4-sided die. Man, I hate this. Who are we going to lose? Not necessarily that they would be dead or gone forever, but 3. Fabium. Fabium's kind of leading them in. She's sort of their guide. She's the one who's lived on the Crucible. This is going to be very dangerous. You've got to keep your wits about you at all times. Demons are very tricky, almost impossible to understand, difficult to communicate with, and they want to eat your feelings. They get into this tunnel and it's dark and it's purplish, and there's little cracklings of red and pink energy, and then just out from the shadows, something just some sort of hand or creature just, and they all look around, and Fabium is gone. Fabium has been separated from the rest of the party, and they are now on their own. Now, Thorada is a demon, but Thorada is not one of these demons of Dis. Thorada is from a different world. Word is the same. There might be some sort of alignment between them. Thorada is a very different kind of demon still. And the only thing we really know or remember about Thorada is that he was aligned with the Devourer. He commissioned a sculpture from Pointage. I think it was floating islands, right? Then this Wolverine was the one who kept on getting those nasty diseases and was eventually cured, but we'll say it's just kind of generally tough. So I've taken a few of the cards that we haven't encountered yet, and I'm shuffling that up, and this is going to be sort of our encounter for this first leg. All right. Oh, that's the good one. Okay. The rest of them are demon cards, but we had pulled this card out from the Shadows group. This is an elf who is a displant, right? It's a pun, right? They've been hidden in the demon place, but they're actually working for Shadows, which is great. They need an extra ally, and they need somebody on the inside. They're coming along, and they encounter these mushrooms, and then one of them pops out, and it's this little elf, and they're like, "Hi, it's me. I'm so glad you're finally here. Yeah, I can help you out." All right, who's this person? What's their name? Thoasha. 1, 2, 3, he, she, they. They. All right.
I'm Thoasha. I'm with the Shadows Elves from the Briars. They let me know that you'd be coming. All right, sounds like we're looking for a cache of amber. All right, I think I know where it might be. Follow me and we'll keep moving.
They've lost one ally, but found another. All right, so I think they're just going to keep going. That's our expected scene, kind of go deeper. We'll see what happens. Expected scene. Okay, yes. Keep moving. Expected scene. And we'll draw another one of these cards for our encounter. A Skixuno, which is a certain kind of demon. Now, this is a little bit tricky for me because all these demons kind of read the same way to me. But this one looks like aggressive. Generally, they're kind of leaning down. They've got a big spear. They've got a whole bunch of masks and spikes, kind of generally unusual form. So the question is, does the Skixuno immediately attack? Is this immediately a combat? We'll call it 50-50. Is this a combat? 35. Yes. We're not using any specific rules for combat at the moment. So we're just going to kind of play it by ear. We'll see who goes first. I'll roll a 6-sided die, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll call 5 or 6 the Skixuno to give it a little bit of an advantage because it is large. Okay, 2. Thorada gets to go first. So they come into this large chamber, and they see this large sort of hulking demon that's like looks immediately aggressive. It's got some sort of staff that it starts to wield, and Thorada immediately jumps into action. Now, I don't know like what kind of demon or like what kind of abilities Thorada might have, so let's roll it up. We're going to use this creature attack table from Between the Skies. All right, 5. It's a blast. And then 22, Sneaking Blast. Great. Thorada comes around, kind of slips into the shadows, tries to, get a hit on this leg of this Skixuno. So let's call it a skill roll. All right, 8. Partial success. Not a great hit, but does get a hit. Maybe, the Skixuno kind of pulls back a little bit. Who's next? Let's do a 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Thawasha. Okay. Thawasha, I imagine, is a little sneaky elf. We've got some mushrooms here. I'm imagining sort of like a little like poisonous knife. So they're also going to try to sneak up along on the other side. Try to get a hit on this Skixuno. 7. Also a partial success. So takes a little cut. What's going on next? 1, 2, 3. 2, Dragog. So the Skixuno is a little bit distracted. These 2 stealthy combatants came along on each side. Took a swipe at each of the legs. So Dragog comes up. He's got his big astrolabe, right, that he wields around. He smacks monsters with it all the time. He comes up and he's just going to smack this Skixuno right in the head. All right. But misses. Maybe there's just something about the size of the beast or this unusual situation, or it's been a while, he hasn't seen combat in a couple months. Brings his astrolabe and it just lands in the dirt. All right. Who's next? Skixuno or the Wolverine? All right, the Wolverine. Oh, they're all being able to get in before. Well, at least they're moving fast. All right, Wolverine's going to attack. Super strong, just going to like leap right at it. And, swing its claws. 7, another partial. So they're making, progress. They're getting hits in, but they're not really, seeming to do, anything in particular. Finally, it's the demon's turn to act. It's got this giant staff. Who's it going to attack? 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, Dragog. Okay. So, because Dragog is the only one who didn't get a hit on him. And now in sort of a compromised position, his astrolabe down on the ground. Skixuno is going to come and take a swing with his staff. We're going to roll for Dragog to defend. 10. Yes. Okay. So Dragog is able to step out of the way, bring his astrolabe with him, and we continue. Now, I'm just sort of making up these combat procedures as we go. So we've got like 3 kind of like partial hits on the Skixuno, but they haven't taken any like super heavy hits. All right. Thorada's going to come around. Going to maybe he's got like these, I'm imagining the sculpture that he got from pointed. She's got these floating islands. They're going to kind of try to like spin around and like make a whirlwind against the demon. All right, 7, partial success. Again, so just ding, 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 ding. It's kind of working. We haven't really gotten that great big hit yet. Thawasha is coming in, going to try to like sneak under and maybe stab with this poison mushroom knife. No, total miss. And it's now in a very compromised position underneath the demon. Dragog's going to take his astrolabe, try to swing again against the Skixuno. Nope, another miss. Just can't seem to get, there's just something about this environment. Dragog's just like not in a great place right now. All right, Wolverine slashing against this demon. All right, there we go. Finally, a success. This Wolverine just like goes nuts and just like really starts to wail on this demon, and getting its claws into it, tearing it apart. So it's definitely taken a wound. All right, Skixuno, I think now is going to turn on the Wolverine because it identifies this as the biggest threat. Going to bring its wand down on the Wolverine. Wolverine was rolling to get out of the way. Partial success. I think Wolverine does take a glancing blow. The wand comes down, kind of glows. The Wolverine gets hit and gets pushed out of the way. Tharada has got these, spinning islands. Is going to try to lift up and get above the demon. Come down that way. Oop. Nope. Not able to hit. And I think, the demon brings its staff and knocks the demon out of the way as well. Elf still underneath. No, that's another. I think the trying to slash from underneath. I think that Skixuno just like kind of like sits down and like crushes this elf. The elf is looking bad. All right, Dragog trying to swing that astrolabe. 8, another partial success. Finally gets a glance on the demon, who kind of takes it on the head. And now it's like getting mad, it's starting to glow. All right. Wolverine recovers from their position. We're going to run up again and try to slash. Misses. The demon just flicks the Wolverine out of the way and is going to turn on Dragog. Dragog's got to roll to avoid. Partial success. The demon brings its staff down, and Dragog gets separated from his astrolabe. This is not looking good. They're just not kind of able to make any sort of headway. Tharada's going to try to fly down and pull Thawasha out before things turn bad for them. Yes, okay, great. So that works. Okay, so Tharada kind of has got this swirling islands around, flies down, swoops under the demon, picks up Thawasha, and then within that, because that was so great, this was not for a damage attack, but also does some damage underneath the bottom of the Skixuno as these floating islands sculpture scratch and cut at the demon. All right, so if they could get like one more like really good hit on it, I'm going to say Thawasha's going to try to throw one of their poison daggers at the demon. See how that goes. That's another great hit. Okay, so just getting pulled out, a little crushed, a little damaged, but takes one of the daggers, throws it at the demon, hits it in one of its face masks, and the poison starts to work. And you can see it kind of like stagger back, and it's a little bit blinded. All right, Dragog needs to get back to his astrolabe. He doesn't want to lose that, so that's going to be the focus of his movement. He's going to try to pick up his astrolabe and get back to the other two. Okay, success. All right, now this Wolverine. See if it can get like one more great big hit. Nope. So I think what that's going to mean is this Wolverine is going to keep at this demon, kind of keep slashing at it, and it kind of turns and it says, it seems to, in its, badger way, you guys go on. I'm going to keep fighting this demon. Don't worry about me. I'm a Wolverine. I just want to fight demons. All right. This demon's going to try to get one more hit on the Wolverine. and misses. Yeah, okay. So the Wolverine's able to keep the demon at bay, and it's like just like go, go, go. And so they do, and they escape, but the Wolverine, they're going to leave here. Before we're done today, I want to follow up what's going on with Fabum. Fabum got separated from the rest of the party. It's doing this own other thing. So my expectation is following up with Fabum, seeing what's going on with them, where they are. That's the expected scene. 1 minus. NPC negative. All right, well, we'll roll on our NPC lists. Not all of these are relevant, but so we'll just sort of see what we get. And a lot of them are blank too, but we've got 12. All right, 9, that is a blank. So I get to pick. Fabum gets pulled into another sort of hidden cave system, tunnel system. There are all these automatons around. And then she can hear the moving of machines, more automatons being built. She looks, she sees, a robed figure, skeletal face, Luich Pelt, the Archivist Lich. I'm so glad to finally meet you. I think we're going to be able to do great things together. And that is where we're going to leave it off for today. My goodness, not a lot of, rousing successes, but that is how the dice roll sometimes. So thanks so much for continuing to follow along. I'm always excited to see where this ends up and how these things go. We just follow the flow of it. If you're enjoying this, please like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment. Let me know what you're excited to see next. Until next time, keep hopping.